So I thought I'd come on and have a quick chat with you, because I've emptied the kiln this morning, and although lots and lots of really nice things have turned out really well, as usual, there's going to be some that didn't quite make it. It's always the ones that you want to make it the most that don't tend to. User error. So I thought I'd have a quick chat with you about the things that you probably won't get to see because they end up staying with me because they're not right. So the first ones, and the ones I'm most disappointed about, are the boxing hairs. Now the glaze that I've used is it's a golden glaze, and I was quite careful about how much I put on, but it still ran. And unfortunately, they stuck to the shelf, and that's what happened. So that's really sharp now. So that's probably going to get chucked away. Thankfully, it was just a spare bit. It wasn't a full kiln shelf. So, I mean, I do have options with these guys. I mean, they look great together. I mean, I'm really pleased with how they've turned out. But obviously, they're not safe. So I thought I might see if I can get somebody who does woodworking, right, and have like a couple of blocks and drill a hole in the top just for them to sit inside. Because the top bits are great, it's just obviously the bottom bits are chunked off. But yeah, I was quite pleased with at least the shape of them. A little bit of a glaze dribble. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing to stop me from making them again, which I probably will do. In fact, I might even make them bigger, because I do like the shapes. So anyway, that's your hairs. And then next up, the little dormouse. So I'll bring him in really close. So his eye, when I was cleaning out these sections here, because when you put the glaze on, it tends to pool in any like crevices, and it can turn out cloudy. So what I tend to do is just with a very sharp, in fact I'll just get one. One of these needle tools is I will just go in, see if you can get closer, and just do that so the glaze is, and obviously on this one I've gone a bit too deep and it's just jagged it a little bit. So little dormouse, I'm afraid, is going to have to stay with me, which I'm alright about. And I will make some more. He's too cute. It's not an excuse, I promise you. Next up, we have got some of these little guys. The others have turned out alright, but this one, if you can see, he's got a line of darker glaze going across there. I've obviously just caught him with the other darker glaze, so he's a not going anywhere. And this one, again, has got a line of glaze going up there that shouldn't be there. And this one, I'm not entirely sure what I've done, but he's got a bit of a weird pattern going on his face, like he's got sideburns. So the three of those little guys are going to snuffle around my studio quite happily. Which leads me on to a bigger one. Now, this one, I use the same clay as the other little ones that I do, just as a trial really, to see how it copes. And I think I've made it too thick because we've got a bum crack. Nothing worse than a bum crack in the wrong place. So obviously he's not going anywhere, which is a shame because he is lovely. Well, it's a shame for you, but not for me because I get to keep him. So yeah, that's a lesson learnt. Make him a little bit thinner. And I think I probably squashed him down too much as well when I was making him. So he'd be flat. I'd be doing that. So it's a little hoggy. Now, the same clay I made an owl with as well, and I've got the same issue. And again, because I think it's too thick. So that's another lesson learned. Little hairline cracks going on in here as well, with the eyes. But it was an experiment. Now, this clay fires to this kind of colour, and this is one of the clays that I used the end gobe on that I mentioned the other day. And it does basically look like a white underglaze. And you can see it's kept some of the brush strokes in there as well, which is interesting. Yeah, I quite like it. I think it's something, I don't know. I quite like it as a simple finish, but I do like my metallics. But then they're not for me to keep, so yeah, I'd be interested in hearing what your thoughts are. So yeah, little owl got cracked, and hence he's a little bit wobbly now. This mountain hare, she's out of the same clay as the little ones as well, just as a trial. And she was alright. She's not cracked like the other two have. But user error, putting the tail on, I've ended up with a crack. Again, user error, my problem, my fault. She'll just have to stay with me. But yeah, it's all trial and error, isn't it? Another thing, occasionally I'll get cloudy glaze. That's my own fault for putting it on too thick in certain places. It happens. It is what it is. It's ceramics. And then just another one that's not made it, because when I've been cleaning the eyes out, I've caught the orange section. But it's hard to explain, but when it's covered in glaze, it's very difficult to distinguish where this line is here. So you do get the occasional one where I've not done it right. So that one's a studio pal as well. See you soon. Ta-ra!